The United States does not seek to decouple from China. Our two economies are deeply integrated, and a wholesale separation would be disastrous for both of our economies.
Janet Yellen wrapped up a 4-day trip to Beijing with a speech in which she warned China that its economic overcapacity could harm US firms. She said there were 3 areas where they'd achieved significant progress. The first was to launch intensive exchanges on balanced growth in the domestic and global economies, from which the Treasury Secretary will be better able to advocate for American workers and businesses. Ms. Yellen said that aspects of Chinese economic policy have a negative spillover effect on both the US and globally.
Namely, its weak household consumption and business overinvestment, aggravated by large-scale government support in specific industrial sectors, will lead to significant risk to workers and businesses in the United States and the rest of the world.
Ms. Yellen said that China has long held excess savings, but that investment in the real estate sector and government-funded infrastructure had absorbed much of it. She said the PRC's industrial policy was now targeting new industries for investment, including electric vehicles, lithium-ion batteries, and solar.
China is now simply too large for the rest of the world to absorb this enormous capacity. Actions taken by the PRC today can shift world prices. And when the global market is flooded by artificially cheap Chinese products, the viability of American and other foreign firms is put into question.
Ms. Yellen drew on history, pointing to more than a decade ago when PRC government support led to below-cost Chinese steel that flooded the global market. She said that decimated industries across the world and in the United States.
There was tremendous loss in jobs, maybe up to 2 million jobs in the United States, that really led to the hollowing out of industrial production in many parts of the country.
Ms. Yellen conceded that the current situation would take time to remedy, but that talks had provided a dedicated structure for us to raise our concerns about China's imbalances and overcapacity.
I think, importantly, it reflects Chinese policies that place great priority on these sectors, channel support to them, enable them to continue operating even when prices drop to very low levels due to overcapacity and their firms don't exit the market. Instead, it's potentially our firms that have to do so.
Ms. Yellen's second area of progress included the creation of a new joint Treasury People's Bank of China cooperation on illicit finance, such as money laundering.
Weaknesses in financial regulatory regimes abroad, in China and other countries around the world, also provide an avenue for financing for criminal organizations, human traffickers, drug traffickers, fraudsters, and other malicious actors that can harm Americans and our national security.
Ms. Yellen's third objective was the continuation of a series of financial technical exchanges between the US and China.
Over the past few months, we've hosted several exercises with China, including on how we would coordinate if there were to be a failure of a large bank in either of our countries. I'm pleased that we will hold upcoming exchanges on operational resilience in the financial sector. We also had difficult conversations about national security.
Janet Yellen said that the Biden administration was determined to stem the flow of material supporting Russia's defense industrial base in its war with Ukraine.
I stressed that companies, including those in the PRC, must not provide material support for Russia's war, and that they will face significant consequences if they do. And I reinforced that any banks that facilitate significant transactions that channel military or dual-use goods to Russia's defense industrial base expose themselves to the risk of U.S. sanctions.